Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Saturday, February 23rd, 2019, and with all the speculation about a possible Joe Biden run for president, I've decided to make a video between Donald Trump and Joe Biden for the 2020 presidential election. I don't know why I was about to say Bernie Sanders, but Joe Biden has not officially announced he is running for president. And, there's a lot of discussion as to whether or not he will actually run for president. That's a whole nother story. Joe Biden, in my opinion, I think is probably going to run for president just with all of this, energy behind him, considering that he is currently the front runner in the Democratic Party amongst announced candidates. Considering he's not announced, he's still leading the entire pack. It's not by a large lead. It is diminishing since he has not been announcing he is running. People are finding other candidates to back. So this race should get pretty interesting. He said he would announce by the end of February. That gives him a total of 5 days. We should see his announcement by Thursday as to whether or not he's going to run or not going to run. But today, this video is going to be about Donald Trump's chances against Joe Biden, not Joe Biden's chances against Donald Trump. That is because we are starting off an electoral map that already disenfranchises the president. Yes, he did win with over 300 electoral votes back in 2016, but look at the states that were very close: Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. The same three states that I've been capitalizing on for the past 3 years, and for good reason. These states all were won by the president by less than 1%. Which means that these states are going to probably be one of the closer states in the 2020 presidential elections if Donald Trump is to win it again or Joe Biden is to win there, or it could possibly be a blowout for the Democrats depending on how the rest of 2019 and early 2020 goes. But looking at this electoral map too, there are other areas where Donald Trump is lacking in. States like Iowa and Ohio, he won back in 2016 by nearing double digits. Well, now he's underwater in terms of his approval rating there. Not just in those two states alone. We look at North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Arizona, Texas, all states that Donald Trump won by a pretty good amount or a good amount for a swing state. And those states have all turned away and turned their backs towards the president. Some of these states, like North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas, do fluctuate from time to time, but as of right now, they currently disapprove of the president, which is not a good sign. After the recent State of the Union, Donald Trump's approval rating has been going up, which happened directly before the shutdown. But as of right now, Donald Trump's approval rating is hovering around 44-45%. Keep in mind, President Barack Obama was reelected around that point in 2012, but this is not 2012, and the map is not this election does not have a Democrat who's an incumbent. Donald Trump is going to need to go back into Democratic territory in order to win again in 2020. And you'll see what I mean in just a moment. So we're going to go ahead and characterize all of the quote-unquote safe Trump states. I know some of these states may not exactly be safe depending on the candidates, or may not even be safe going against Joe Biden. But these states are probably going to end up in the Donald Trump column, so red is any shade of red. To be honest, unless it's a super important swing state, characterizations like that are really not uber important. If you're looking at a state like Indiana, it's not that important that if it goes to Trump by only 14%, and I fail to characterize that as a likely state. And even then, we aren't looking too deep into the safe states. We know that these states are going to land in either column regardless of what happens for either candidate. So we can go ahead and characterize those now. Going up to the Northeast, it's an area that's always blue. You can expect that going over to the West Coast, California, with a very big impact for the Democrats, 55 total electoral votes. And one thing that may be new, if you're just starting to watch my videos, or if you're comparing it to the 2016 map, we have states like Arizona and Texas already as toss-up states. Typically, these states are rated as lean or likely Republican, depending on which state you're looking at, by the Cook Political Report, Insider Elections, things like that. Polling firms and major polling organizations or pundits do rate a number of these states that are currently toss-ups as lean GOP states. The reason why I don't start out with that is because these are all the states that are probably not going to be safe states, so they don't need to be characterized right away. There's a reason why we talk about these. Now, looking at the electoral map, that leaves a total of 231 electoral votes up for grabs. 125 have already been allocated for Donald Trump in terms of the total electoral map. 182 electoral votes have been allocated for Joe Biden. And those are the safe states alone. But we now have a number of toss-up states, and all of these realistically could be characterized as only lean states by the end of this video. Texas could narrow down as it did in 2018. Colorado, New Mexico, and Nevada would, if anything, be into the likely Democratic column rather than the lean Democratic column, but still a toss-up state. Arizona showed its Democratic colors in 2018. Who knows how that one's going to go in 2020? Iowa and Ohio and North Carolina and Georgia and Florida, all Trump states from 2016, have narrowed down since Donald Trump's election. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan have all shown more Democratic tendencies in the past. Minnesota was a narrow state for Hillary Clinton, so we always characterize that one as a toss-up state. New Hampshire's 2nd district was close for Trump. Maine's 2nd district was close for Trump. Maine at large was close for Clinton. New Hampshire was close for Clinton. Very close for Clinton, and Virginia was also close. So that pretty much justifies all the reasoning for all of these states being toss-ups. But again, we do know some of these states are probably going to be likely states, especially with Joe Biden on the Democratic side. States like Virginia and Colorado and New Mexico is probably going to be a safe state, to be honest with you. There are some Democrats where it could go into the lean, possibly Trump column, if we're throwing in someone like Pelosi. But right now, New Mexico I'd characterize as a safe state for the Democrats, likely state in Colorado. Nevada, we're going to get back. Sorry about that, my screen recorder cut out, but essentially we were talking about the likely states. I said Nevada would likely be characterized as a likely state. That's funny. And then for Donald Trump, there aren't that many quote-unquote likely states as of right now going against Joe Biden. The only one that as of right now I think could be a likely state very narrowly is the state of Texas. Other than that, we're probably not going to see a likely margin against Joe Biden from any of these states or districts as of right now. Texas, I think, could be 6-7% at most for Donald Trump in 2020, and even then, it probably is going to move down into the lean column, depending on the candidates. I mean, I don't think Bernie Sanders is going to do as well as Joe Biden in the state of Texas, nor do I think Elizabeth Warren would do as good as Bernie Sanders in Texas, but again, all comes down to the individual candidates, which is why I'm doing this video. Moving over into some other toss-up states, we do have another likely Democratic state. The state of Minnesota I would characterize as a likely Democratic state, joined by the state of Pennsylvania. Now, we officially have our first flip. The state of Pennsylvania, with its 20 electoral votes crucial to both sides' victories, Joe Biden was born in the state of Pennsylvania. He was a very big help for Barack Obama back in 2008 and 2012, and to be honest, Hillary Clinton was one of the few Democrats who could lose Pennsylvania. This is a state that goes back decades, going for the Democratic Party in presidential elections, and as of right now, they currently have a number of Democrats in Congress from both the House, and they have one senator there. They currently have a Democratic governor, and if you look at the 2018 results, it was not a good sign for Donald Trump. Going back to the state of Pennsylvania, this state itself, number one, Biden was born here. He's going to do pretty well here. In terms of appealing to the white working class, Hillary Clinton, she was one of the few Democrats who could lose that state, so she wasn't able to appeal to the white working class very well. But right now, Joe Biden, I think, could do a really, really good job at appealing to the white working class, especially since he came from that state itself. With the history from previous elections and then just going into 2020 with Donald Trump at a -12 approval rating in Pennsylvania, it just doesn't look too good for Donald Trump's chances in the state of Pennsylvania yet again. Going up into the Northeast, I would say Maine at large is a likely Democratic state. And that pretty much covers all of the quote-unquote likely states for right now. Let's go ahead and characterize some of these lean states. I would characterize Nevada as a lean state, probably 4 or 5% for Joe Biden. For Donald Trump, I do think he's going to narrowly carry that 2nd district into the lean margin, carry Ohio and Iowa into the lean margin. Now, that's something that we need to talk about. Ohio and Iowa, these are 2 Obama states, which is why I really think that it could get close, but not just that. These states have since drawn away from the president. If you look at 2018, Iowa now has more Democrats from Congress, in Congress from Iowa than Republicans. It was 1-3, and then it switched to 3-1. Going over to the state of Ohio, it wasn't that good for Democrats in terms of the House elections there, but the Senate election was a re-election for the Democrat in the state of Ohio. The governorship did not go to the Democrats, but it was definitely closer than where it was in 2016 in the presidential election. And also, Joe Biden's just a better candidate than Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump has since lost a little bit of support across these special states nearing the Rust Belt. Going down to the state of North Carolina, I would say that one, along with Georgia, goes to Donald Trump. Even though he may be not approved of too much in the state itself, it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to lose the state. Georgia and North Carolina, I do think are going to come out and show for the president. Arizona, even though it was close and did go to a Democrat in the Senate election in 2018, I do think it's going to narrowly go to the Republican Party in 2020. I do think that their hold on there is going to stay. But for Joe Biden, he's probably going to carry New Hampshire. Actually, I think that one could go into the likely column. So I lied. That was not the last likely state, but referring to Pennsylvania. But New Hampshire, I do think, can go into the likely column. For the state of Florida, though, I do think Donald Trump's going to narrowly win there. That one's going to go into the narrow column. And I do think that Donald Trump is probably going to carry Maine's 2nd district by a lean margin, but then Maine 1st district I do think is going to be a safe margin for Joe Biden, and that leaves Michigan and Wisconsin. Both of those states I do think are going to narrowly go to Joe Biden with his appeal to the white working class, and overall Donald Trump being at -18 in both of those states. That is definitely not a good sign. So that wraps up today's video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I will see you all tomorrow.